Today we will visit with Clyde Fenton, our philosophical farmer, as he digs deep to find an interesting approach to hot composting.
Today we're here and we're going to talk about composting. Now composting is a neat deal because you can take a laid-back approach, or you can take an aggressive approach and do something called hot composting, and that's what we're going to focus on today. You know, you can pile any organic matter somewhere and eventually it's going to break down, you're going to have wonderful compost. But some of the advantages of hot composting is hot composting will kill the microbes that could bring diseases or kill a lot of the insects that might be in the material that you're making into compost. It also causes it to break down very quickly. Hot composting can take you from your raw material to your actual compost in about a month to 2 months. The other thing I want to mention with hot composting, the mistake a lot of folks make with hot composting is you've got to have enough volume to get it to heat properly, and that volume is something 3 feet wide by 3 feet tall. So I've used wire that's a 2x4 setup, but it's 3 feet tall, and the diameter of my circle is approximately 3 to 3.5 feet. So that's basically what we've got. We're going to talk a little bit about the different parts of compost, and then I'm going to show you how we do it. Here I've got nothing more than a pile of sticks. This is an optional part, but a lot of folks like to put that as the base of their compost pile because it puts some oxygen underneath it. Compost has 4 components. You've got carbon, which is your browns. This happens to be old hay. I've got some sawdust here. That counts as a brown. You've got greens, and I've brought 3 to illustrate greens. This is nothing more than lawn clippings. But the green gives you your nitrogen, the browns give you your carbon. Now I grabbed a few just out of the hedgerow here. This here is vetch. Vetch is a legume. You know, you're looking for things that are rich in nitrogen, and legumes are rich in nitrogen. So I grabbed some common vetch that I'm going to throw in the pile as well. I also, as I was walking along, I noticed some red clover. Red clover is also a legume, also rich in nitrogen. So, you know, you can find that. You know, in our yard out here, we've got white clover, and you may have white clover in your yard, but the clippings from your white clover are going to be rich in nitrogen. So that's something that you can use. Anyway, that's our basic components. A couple of tools. Probably goofy, but this was my favorite Christmas present this year. This is a compost thermometer. It goes from 0 to 200 degrees, but this tells you if your compost is working for you. You plunge this down your pile 3 or 4 days after you start, and your pile should be going over 100 degrees. When it gets cooking really good, it'll be between 130 and 160, which makes it work very quickly, and it'll take all this stuff, all this fiber, and break it down to almost dirt. You know, when I spread my compost after the first batch I did, I don't think I had any pieces that were any longer than 1.5 inches. Broke them down very nicely. They were black just like dirt. Worked great for me. The other tool that is essential in a pile, this is my hickory high lift. It's nothing more than a pitchfork. But I use this to turn my pile. I guess let me finish with this, because when we start this pile, we're going to build it like lasagna. We're going to do it in layers. The sticks are going to go on the bottom, and then we're going to get a good thick layer of carbon, which most of mine is old hay. Then we're going to put in a light layer of the green, and then we're going to water that in. And then we're going to do that all over again. We're going to build all the way up to the top doing that, and then our compost pile will be ready to go. It'll have its water, it'll have its nitrogen, it'll have its carbon, and it'll start to work for us. Hey, I just wanted to say a few more things. I showed you how we built this today. I'm not sure I touched on these things. We had sawdust here. It was, you know, when I was cutting wood this winter, we accumulated a pile of that, and sawdust can work as your carbon or as your browns. I used old hay. as I've been cleaning up weeds and so forth, all of that stuff can go into your compost as your browns. Grass clippings, legumes, coffee grounds. You know, coffee grounds are brown, but they actually are rich in nitrogen, and coffee grounds can be added. Your kitchen scraps. Now, I would recommend that you avoid dairy and meat and eggs in your compost piles, but all of your potato peels, apple peels, spoiled vegetables, all of that stuff can go in your compost pile and will break down very nicely, will become carbon and organic matter that is really good at holding the nutrients that your plants need when you grow them. You know, I think about a lot of stuff, I guess, as I'm out working and so forth. It's a great time to think, but you know, I love teaching people, and one of the things I think about, you know, one of the things that made this country great was our self-sufficiency. And today we have knowledge at our fingertips. We can Google anything we want and the information's there. What we don't have today is skills. And so, you know, what we're doing in this series is I'm trying to show you skills that you can use. If we ever found ourselves in a place where you couldn't go buy fertilizer, you couldn't have someone do work for you or whatever, knowing how to do these things is valuable information, because, you know, when you get right down to what our basic needs are, it's a roof over our head, clothes on our backs, and food's in our stomach. So being able to grow your own food is really important. And being able to make compost can be a way to amend your soil so that you can grow some wonderful food. It's a great skill to have, whether it's needed or you just enjoy doing it. You know, I think a lot of times our words have been commandeered, and we use the word empowerment today when we give things away. I think about empowerment as being able to take your knowledge and your skill set and put them together and create things that are valuable. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today. Those are my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit about hot composting.